What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Paper Room Podcast, hosted by our BT Young Adults team. This is a podcast to encourage young adults in their young adult journey to follow Jesus and live faithfully in this culture. Our hope is to share some wisdom as you're navigating major decisions in this life. We love you guys. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Paper Room episode something.
72.
Wait,
It's like 60 something.
okay, I was gonna say, can we figure out the number?
I can look on Spotify right now. I want to say it's 60,
We've gotten to the age.
62. Yeah,
I think we passed it too.
we're at the age where you kind of forget, who you are, what age you are, which is actually true about my life.
You forgot how old you are?
Yeah, people ask me how old I am, and I don't remember the correct
I
answer.
feel like that definitely happens
Plenty times.
after 30.
The last episode we have is 59. This is number 60.
Hey!
Okay.
Wow,
That's nice.
60.
It feels like
And the
we've
OG
done more
crew is
than
back. That's kind of
That's nice.
that's a cool God moment. Welcome back, guys. So glad
that.
you guys are
Where
here
have
with
we
us.
been?
Well, we've been rotating a little bit. Megan's been jumping in. Ben jumped in.
That was
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
We finally got him on camera.
Never gonna
after
do that
many
again.
years.
And we have some other ideas of future guests coming in. Some of you guys, just through like social media and things like that. An episode I do want to do as like a preview is I want to highlight Beach Reach. I want to get some young adults on here who were there,
Oh.
maybe from the BSM, or I know some of our young adults went,
that were there.
just to talk about Beach Reach because that's such a cool ministry.
And you've been Beach Reach.
Stop. Let's move on. Just kidding. Excited for today's episode. But before getting into that, today, the moment of this recording, very special day. It's opening day in baseball. That's why if you're watching,
Nice.
let's go Mets.
I can't watch baseball till the playoffs. That's when it's intense. That's when it's, the pitcher.
Takes a
That's
long
when the
time.
pitcher rotation
It's crazy.
really matter.
There's 160 games in the
Yeah,
baseball
I don't
season.
care yet.
It's crazy.
I
But
don't
I do
care.
like it. And shout out Ben
Why?
because Ben gave me his MLB login, so I get to watch all
that's
the games.
Ben watch baseball like
no,
that?
it's
No.
it was a part of his phone plan or something like that.
Oh,
so I don't know if I can say it out loud,
you
but-
don't even care.
That's why when you said shout out Ben, I was like,
for what?
I don't know.
So I get to watch baseball games. So in the world of sports, one thing that we also did as a Paper Room crew is we filled out our March
This is our
Madness
third year doing that.
tournament bracket challenge.
Go Hens.
Go Hens,
Oof.
and they're done.
So let's do a quick catch up. We at this moment it is a Sweet 16 is starting today.
Yes.
Right. So I don't know if you still understand how the bracket works. 64 teams, they go down to a round of 32. Now it's 16 and then
Elite
8,
eight.
4, 2.
Final four.
So Sweet
Okay.
16, Lead 8, Final 4, 2. So what we had to do was we basically predicted all the games.
Mhm.
Man, and I was in shock because at the end of day one, somebody was in the lead of our tournament challenge that I would just have never guessed. Megan was in first place
Wow.
Well,
quite some
The
time.
Lord is soon to come.
Wow. But Megan, she's doing okay. She's in the middle of the pack. Isha, you are in
Last?
place.
Dead last.
Do you remember what team you picked to win?
Oregon.
Yeah, yeah.
Why did you
It's
pick
Oregon.
Oregon?
It just happened that way.
It just,
I like
You
the,
have to
I
pick
like
it
the
that way.
state
it just happened that way.
and ducks.
Okay.
You like ducks.
Yeah.
That's
And
nice.
they're cousins of hens.
Yeah.
So you're in the hen world. That's
Yeah, yeah.
actually
Okay.
true.
Gotta stay
She picked
close.
Oregon. Oregon is out. I don't know if you know that or not, but they lost already
Oh.
in the first 2 rounds. I don't remember. It was round. I think they lost round 1.
No, they lost
Maybe.
round 2.
They did, right? Okay. Yeah.
Wow.
So they're out. So
think.
basically, you have no chance.
man.
Right
That's
now,
funny.
I am in second, looking decent.
Yeah,
You're not doing too hot, my man.
that's all right. That's all right. My teams are still in it.
You're some of them, yeah.
I have a lot of teams that can still make the Elite Eight and
Yeah,
Final Four
and
stage.
as you as the rounds progress and you
Get
get
more
that
points.
round correct, you get more points.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you picked Michigan State.
I'm right where I want to be.
Okay.
I think.
Tom Izzo's boys.
Hey, they
Um,
playing nice.
We'll see how they do.
They playing.
I did watch a lot of TikToks this year on how to fill out your bracket, and
Yeah.
so that was a little helpful.
I think that's gonna mess a bunch of people up though,
Yeah.
because a lot of people picking,
statistics are true.
they're picking Florida to win, and I just don't.
That's
think
what I
they're
did. I
gonna
got
win.
Florida going all the way, so we'll see what happens there.
They might lose tonight to Maryland.
But in first place is our man behind the camera. Matt is in first place right now, which is
Wow.
crazy.
Most interesting man
in the room right now.
He's also a newlywed.
Oh yeah, shout out Matt.
Shout out marriage. Shout out Matt.
Mazel tov.
Matt, you picked Auburn. We'll see what happens. You told me you used AI.
Dang.
Matt said he
should've
shuffled
used
it.
that.
Yeah.
Hey, I mean, it did
Go
good
Ducks.
for you. So we'll see. Winner's getting lunch. So we'll see what happens.
Yes.
Dang.
Yeah.
I missed out.
Lunch wherever they want, or you got pick it.
I mean,
Longhorn.
not where, bro.
Okay.
Kind of like decent.
Okay.
See what's up. But great times. We'll see what happens. Sweet 16 today.
It'll be fun.
Yeah. So Matt's getting married. Praise God. And you're having a baby.
I
coming
am,
up in, like,
really
2
soon.
months, 3
Yeah,
months?
It's like basically 2 months at this point.
Are you ready? As you.
I
can be,
mean,
like,
yeah, mentally I'm there. Like,
Not you are having a baby. You and Ben. Sorry. Together.
yeah.
Well, nah, she ain't doing that.
Ben's just gonna be
Ben,
there
yeah.
with his thumbs up.
Crazy.
I feel mentally ready, like for
Okay.
sure. There's still like things I want to do physically, like exercises and stuff.
Do smells mess you up?
They have been like the whole pregnancy.
They
It was
messed me up,
really
too.
bad the first 3 months, for sure.
Dang.
For sure.
You ready to change a bunch of Pampers? Diapers?
Yeah.
Pampers or diapers? Have you ever seen that thing where, like, do you call it by what it is or what it's actually named?
Yeah.
You ever seen that? Like, it's funny, like Kleenex.
I use
Like
them
blue
both.
Gatorade.
What?
It's not called blue. It's like called
Yeah,
Glacier
something like that,
freezer.
right?
Glacier
But,
free. Yeah, we say blue. That's true.
like a box of Kleenex, I think it's called Kleenex. Some people say tissues. You
Yeah.
know, like
Yeah,
that
tissue,
thing.
yeah. I
Those
use
Pampers and
Pamper
diapers.
and diaper interchangeably.
We're gonna use whatever we're gifted because free diapers. Actually, Ben has changed probably way more diapers than I have like ever in my
Wow.
life because he
Look at
has
God.
2 nephews and 2 nieces.
So
and
you
he took
putting
care
them
of
on that duty, huh?
Well, you know.
I had
I'll be
never
like, you got
changed
it.
one
You
before
already know how to do it.
until I had to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man. It's a beautiful experience. That connection
Gotta take care of the little nugget.
with another human. The
Changing
McNugget.
Changing doo-doo.
Yeah, that's right.
He's
I
gonna.
don't know
need
if I
us.
would call it beautiful experience, but
I mean, you just think somebody did it for you.
it's not as bad as that was gonna be. I will say that.
It
was-
depends though. Some of them
Yeah.
blow out. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
And it doesn't really smell until like they start eating real food. So that's where I learned to.
Mm,
But
You be all
we're
right.
ready.
I'm sorry,
we're
Isha.
ready. It's okay.
But you got it. You got
Yeah.
it.
You
You
got
going you going
Yeah.
do that. Are you going to try to like push the stroller and run when you can run again?
Yeah, but I don't know. I just feel like I don't know if our stroller like will do that. You
If
know?
the brakes are
You
good
know,
on
like, yeah, if the ignition's gonna be good.
ignition.
I don't know. It's just a
we got to get you a good stroller.
stroller that.
Ignition is crazy.
Oh, speaking of,
Oh, speaking of Ben,
Speaking of
Neighborhood Coffee. Shout out Neighborhood.
wow.
Not sponsored, but delivery
No,
service.
Thank
I'm
you.
just
Special
chopped
delivery.
liver. You
Thank
know,
you,
nobody
bro.
asked me
got my
order
pregnant woman
before.
necessity right here in my water.
Thank you for much needed coffee. And doing that, bro.
That's how advanced paper room this podcast has gotten. You know, we now get
By episode
orders
60,
from
we got
Neighborhood
delivered mid
Mhm.
podcast. It's called upgrading.
Oh, gosh, that's so good.
Thank you.
I have a question for you guys. What is your favorite miracle of Jesus?
Ooh,
Mm.
wow.
Think about all the miracles he did. My guy did a lot of stuff throughout his lifetime. What's a miracle of Jesus that stands out to you?
That's very tough.
I have one fresh on the mind, but since it I mean, I don't think I could have a favorite, but one that's fresh
Pick a
fresh
favorite.
on
Just
the
kidding.
on the mind is actually forgot his name, but the man that was blind,
Bartimaeus?
Bartimaeus.
yeah,
Love
and he
Bar-
called out
love
to
Bart.
him, "Son
Yeah.
of David," and
Wow.
that was the first time that Jesus kind of allowed somebody to be to call him that,
Yeah.
and the people
Better teach.
the
Mark
people
chapter
around
8,
him
I think.
were like, shh.
Right. Even the disciples were telling him to
But
be
he
quiet.
called out again, and
Shout out
I was,
all the
I was
more.
sharing this with Megan, and she was like, "That's so cool that had he not called out again, Jesus probably wouldn't have heard him. But he called out again in faith, and then Jesus turned around.
Yeah, he said, I can't see. That don't mean I can't talk.
Mhm.
I love
That's
that
a good
he
one.
said that Jesus said, "What do you want for me to do?"
I want to see.
He said, "I want to see, not I need to see."
Mm.
He lived his whole life already like being blind, so maybe it wasn't a necessity, but he wanted to see.
Come on.
Come on, you better teach.
That's a good one. I love blind
That
Bartimaeus.
is. Yeah, man. I mean, this is probably everybody gonna be like, but the resurrection is so crazy.
Wow.
The resurrection is
Happy
so
Easter.
crazy.
I have a weird question. Is that a miracle of Jesus or is that a miracle of the Father? Is there a difference?
That's a good question.
So I think
Because if so, you have to change your answer.
No,
Just kidding.
no.
But no, the
So theology,
the miracle of the
Jesus said,
resurrection.
"I don't do nothing. I don't see my Father doing. I don't say nothing. I don't see Him saying." So all miracles are miracles of God.
Correct.
So, but I would say the resurrection because all of the Godhead is involved in the resurrection. You know, it says the same Spirit that raised Jesus from the dead dwells in us. So I would say the resurrection is the greatest miracle because of just the ripple through eternity that the resurrection, you know,
It
throws.
is
And then
the perfect tense.
yeah,
That was the crucifixion, but yeah, and then the resurrection.
and then Jesus said it was going to happen.
Mhm.
Like He said, "I'm going to do this," and everybody's still surprised.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, I told you this was going to happen.
I don't know.
Yeah, I done told you.
Yeah.
But he still put in it, and you know, like I heard one person say, I think it was Pastor Andy Stanley or somebody, like anybody that tells you they're gonna die and rise again from the dead in 3 days, and they actually do it, you probably need to listen to that person and give them your whole life.
Yeah.
So
wow, that's good.
that's what I would say.
Blind Bartimaeus, the resurrection. My favorite miracle of Jesus.
Rich young ruler. No.
Favorite story. My favorite miracle of Jesus. This is a miracle that not a lot of people talk about. It's the fact that he had 12 close friends in his 30s.
Oh,
Just kidding.
I see what you did there.
I saw a meme one time and it said, "No one talks about the miracle of Jesus having 12 close friends in his 30s." Because
But
he was 30. He was hanging out with those
11.
teenagers probably. One wasn't that close. Crazy. So we are talking about friendship today. And if you guys remember back in episode 48, so 12 episodes ago, we talked about red flags in friendship. So like,
that was 12 episodes
I know,
ago?
kind of crazy.
Really?
Things like to be cautious of, you know, because the thunder. Just kidding.
That you know-
Developing friendships is, you know, it's a hard thing to do. One of our kind of big things that we constantly say at BT Young Adults on Tuesday nights is want to help young adults find friends, make friends, because loneliness is a big just thing that a lot of people struggle with.
Oh, it's
right?
so sad. I remember reading a story in the New York Times about, I want to say it is somewhere in Korea, but it's an apartment building, and it's like people don't know that people have died in other apartments until they start smelling the smell, or until until they start like that's the loneliness that
right.
that
nobody
exists
knows.
and
Yeah.
nobody knows.
Yeah,
Yeah,
wow.
one of the saddest things I've ever.
That's
heard.
crazy. Yeah, and so I mean, obviously it was before the pandemic that loneliness was you know still an issue that people were going through, but that I think escalated it a lot as well. And I think we just kind of live in a culture where we have a lot of I would say like shallow friendships. Like we know a lot of people, right? You have you know thousands of people that you're friends with on Facebook.
Right.
You have hundreds and hundreds of people
None
that
of them
you
jokes.
follow each other on Instagram, so you kind of know a little bit about their life, at least what they promote on social media. But the idea of developing like deep friendships is kind of hard. Like, and what I love about the disciples, you know, obviously Jesus was their leader, but I also think you know he was a friend too. And so you have this reality that they followed him for 3 years, and they were had a lot of intimate moments together, things
Absolutely.
like that.
I mean, one of Jesus's dying acts is to give his mother to his friend. That I mean, you know, that's big.
So we talked about red flags, things to look out for, like, hey, be careful because, you know, people, you know, they might, it's so easy to pursue a relationship, whether friendship or dating or even like a work-based relationship that's so self-centered, self-focused. What am I going to get out of this in our culture? So we want to talk about now green flags in friendships. Like what are things like, man, like this is a person that you should develop a friendship with, or maybe kind of through casual connection and conversation, it's someone that kind of blossomed into a really good friend for you.
Yeah, that's good.
But starting off with this question, why do you think it's difficult to develop deep friendships in our culture?
Woo!
Everyone gets offended for a lot of things very quickly. And I think that's what causes the friendship to either not go deep or for the friendship to just end sooner than it needs to. Because somebody just gets offended and then they can't overcome the offense.
Yeah.
And stay loyal and
Scripture
stick
says,
through
"Faithful are the wounds of a friend," which means your friends are going to wound you.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. What else?
It's inconvenient. Like when you really build friendships, it can be inconvenient. You know what I mean? You know, you really have to, because I think a friend is somebody who is allowed to kind of intersect your life. That's inconvenient because that intersection, or that, I don't want to say intrusion, but that including a whole nother person in your life will happen sometimes that is not on your terms. It's not, you know.
Yeah.
And we are so used to, or we are so conditioned to now, you know, getting gratification, like getting what we want, the news we want, the reactions we want, the whatever we want. A real friend or a real friendship relationship, it can't be everything you want, because that's not a real friendship. Like, it's got to be some time. We going out to eat and I hate this place. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, or no, I don't want to. No, I do not want to see nobody today.
A willingness to sacrifice.
Yeah, that's
good.
That's what I feel.
Yeah, it's and it's hard because we live in a culture where one, obviously everything is based on screens, so it's like you said, it's inconvenient. I think a lot of self-centeredness happens in our culture, so it goes back to like the things that, what am I going to get out of this friendship? And so it's hard to like kind of be like off. I feel like in a lot of relationships you have to be on, especially like in a ministry setting. Like if you're always having to pour out to somebody and they're not pouring into you, then it's not really a friendship. It's a mentorship type of feeling. So sometimes it's hard to develop friendships that are where like you just, not that you're not being yourself in ministry, but that where you're just like, I'm not on right now.
No, I get it.
One of a friend of mine encouraged me with this. He will prayerfully be taking a sabbatical soon. That's something that Pastor Chris and I have been talking about. And I was just kind of picking his brain, like, hey, man, you went on sabbatical. Like, what's something that you would just kind of offer me some advice? He said, if you meet with people, like, that's great. But the moment that you happen to start minister to them, like, you have to stop that because, one, you're on Sabbath. And I was like, oh, it's good. And I feel like sometimes with friendships, we kind of have that same approach where, and I'll just be honest, for me, it's been hard to have friendships because, one, I was a student pastor, so all of our friends for Summer and I were teenagers.
Yeah.
And so we're like Friday night at a football game, sitting in the student section, hanging out with them. And then now, like in young adult ministry, like, you know, I'm a 35-year-old dude hanging out with a bunch of 20-year-olds. And I love it. It's
different.
Cultivating, it's life-giving, but it's also different. I'm like,
they on your peers.
Right. Yeah. And so it just feels like sometimes it's really, really hard to develop deep friendships, right?
Yeah.
And Summer and I have felt that way for a long time. Like, man, like just people who are our age and our season of life.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's like the strangest feeling. And I feel like this is maybe like something that happens to like ministry leaders pretty often.
I think it's one of the occupational hazards of ministry.
Because you're wanting to be a pastor leader to the people that you're pouring into.
Yeah, but you don't want to be that to your friend.
Right.
Sometimes.
I've experienced that like a lot.
Yeah, you don't want to like you. That's why the strongest friendships in my life, and my wife and I were just talking about this not too long ago too, because I feel like we need to develop friends as a couple.
Right. Yeah.
You know, we have friends, but most of them are, you know, from our lives before each other, which I get. Which is good too, but it's good to develop friends as a couple. But most of my friendships come from earlier in my life, the long, you know, and I'm not Pastor Nick to them. I'm not. They know I'm in ministry. Like all my friends will say, "Oh man, we always knew you would be a preacher before I knew it." Like, but I'm not their pastor. Like you know, they respect me, but I'm Nick.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And you know, I love that. Now, one of my friends, he asked me to do his wedding.
Come on.
I had to, you know, I take that very seriously. So I take that call seriously. But, you know, we knew that, you know, we're going to put, I know people say, don't compartmentalize. But we did. We compartment. I say, listen, you my boy, but premarital, I'm not taking your side. Like you know, this is about a covenant here, and this is a God ordained thing. So forget our friendship right now. This is about this.
You're like, I'm gonna try to break y'all up.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna, because I know you.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go in, Doc. And it was praise God, they're married and having a good time.
Yeah.
But yeah,
that's good. Why do you guys think it's important to have like quality, deep friendships in our life?
Life is hard.
Yeah.
And like it's like you said, like we can have a lot of friends, like, oh, my friend, or we say things like we say
Why'd you give
different
a country right there?
I don't know. We use different terms, like we say like homie, bro, like girly pop, like whatever, like we say different things. But there's very few, I think, very deep, like this is legit, like my friend, like almost like my sister or my brother, like in my life. And we need that because life gets really hard, and if we don't have an established person, like an established relationship, at least with one person, we will feel very alone.
Yeah.
And we weren't called to live a life that God doesn't intend for us to live a life where we feel lonely. Of course we have him, but Jesus had his people.
Yeah.
And so we should have our people.
Yeah.
Come on.
Humanity can't flourish without community. I just think that humanity can't flourish without community. And when you look at the church, for everybody that for everybody that has very limited siblings or whatever the case, or limited family background, like you should find community and family in the church. Like God always provides what we need to really flourish. And so that's why I think we need friendships, we need human connection, we need godly connections, we need all of that, because humanity cannot flourish without community.
That's good. I remember Summer and I joke about this all the time. I feel like it's guys get really comfortable fast with one another.
Yeah.
Or like you first meet them, and all of a sudden you're down to play 6 hours of golf together. And I feel like we get comfortable. I think girls take a little bit longer, but once they get comfortable, they get really deep fast. Right?
Yeah.
And so you just know everything about their life.
Yeah.
Whereas for guys, it's more of like surface level friendship. And we always joke about this, and there's like TikToks about it. But of like, you got your boy, best friend for 10, 15 years. Like, oh, yeah, like they just moved, right? And you're like, I don't know, I guess so. But you don't actually know anything about their life. You just talk about sports together, and that's it on a group chat.
Because the quality of your relationship depends on the quality of your conversation.
Like even one of my best friends, who was like my best man at my wedding, Summer's like, what does he do now? I was like, I don't know what he does.
He in the CIA.
But he's living in Austin somewhere. And so, but yeah, it's just funny how we have, for guys, like a lot of close friends, but it's not like deep friendship and deep understanding. And actually reading a book right now called Fighting Shadows, and it kind of talks about that reality a little bit, that guys will go play golf together, they'll hang out, but don't have a lot of like depth. And in there, a challenge, like, man, grab
and it hadn't always been like that,
right? Yeah, grab a group of 10, 15 guys, and have an intentional conversation around a question, right? That is dealing with life, so that you can just dive a little bit deeper into the passive service, because it's so
why is that?
easy
Like,
for us.
do you think that it's like you said, it hasn't always been that way? So then it's not like, well, we're just born like not wanting to go deep with each other.
I guess I just kind of think like, rather than work through something, we're just gonna work past it and make ourselves busy to not have to worry about that thing.
Right.
And the busyness of life will kind of, which is not a good thing, it will cause us to forget about what we're going through, so that we can just move past it and not have to worry about it.
That's improper compartmentalization, I feel. But and the reason why I say it hadn't always been like this, because you look at the scripture, and one of the strongest friendships that I've seen in the scripture is that of David and Jonathan. You see a great friendship, a great vulnerability, a great loyalty, while also being faithful to, what you're called to. Like,
because he's the one who says, like, I am with you, heart and soul. Right?
Yeah.
Jonathan says that to David. And whether right or wrong, part of how I think sometimes is like, if I'm going through something deep, what I've known, and this is not a girl or guy thing, but you just see more qualities of girls and guys. Like, a girl would want to sit with it, walk through it, wrestle with it, reflect with it, journal with it. I'm just like, I don't want to think about it, and I don't have time to think about it.
Right.
I gotta go.
I gotta go do this.
And so, but that's how I'm wired. Is like the way I work through something is I work past it.
Yeah.
But that can also bring a lot of unhealthiness, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm not actually going to the foundation of something. And that's why I think having deep quality friendships allows you to work through things that that maybe, my general friends or my acquaintances don't need to know about this, but somebody does, right? Otherwise, then you're just hiding it from everybody and not really walking through something in community.
Yeah, and I think that, well, I don't know what you're about to ask, but I think the type of friends that we have in our friendship bouquet is important too. Because you can't go at a certain level with everybody.
Right.
You can't reveal
Yeah.
Jesus didn't take every last disciple on the Mount of Transfiguration. So I think that's important too when you think about your bouquet of friendships. Certain ones are going to have different levels of access.
That's so good. Yeah, because we have a running joke that like if I'm ever like in a circle with people, we're just kind of hanging out, it kind of gets a little quiet. I'll just say, man, like, so what's y'all's like biggest sin struggle right now? And like, no one like ever.
Nobody gonna say
that. It's like really awkward.
We just laugh like we're definitely not.
All right, time to go home. I see you on the Gulf Coast tomorrow.
7 a.m. tea time. What's everybody's biggest like sin struggle? So like, what are you guys struggling with right now?
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding right now. But not everybody needs to know. So like, I'm not gonna tell a young adult,
right,
my biggest sin struggle, outside of maybe like being vulnerable in a message like that, but we're not going to have like this deep one-on-one convo. But somebody needs to know, right? What my struggles are, what I'm going through, what I'm praying about, and those sort of things. And I like that you said like a bouquet of friendships, because I think, I know this is true for me, that's been so helpful of like, as far as these green flags and friendships, where I have people in my life that maybe I don't talk to all the time.
right.
But I know that they're always going to be there, and always have a word for me when I need it, type of thing. And those people, like, which is kind of interesting.
You can get to that level.
Yeah, and quick. So what I wanted to get to, and I think the bouquet kind of really brings a good segue into this next question. What do you, when you think about green flags and friendships, and really good quality friendships, what are some characteristics that we ought to look for? Because it's scary to go deep with somebody, because at first you're meeting them, you don't really know if you can trust them. You're gonna talk to them about some stuff, but also just kind of not having to be on all the time. Like, can you be off with this person and just be friends? And so, what are some qualities that we should look after, characteristics in friendships?
That's a good question. And I was just went to lunch with some of the guys on the team yesterday, and Adele came on, and it made me think of how she kind of found the snakes in her circle. She came up with like 4 different stories and told 4 different stories to different people in her circle. And the 2 that ended up in the tabloids, well, then she was like, all right, well, they out the circle. Loyalty, discretion. I think that's very important. Loyalty, discretion, discernment. I think that's very important. Like, I need friends that's going to help me think a little bit more sober-mindedly on some things in some areas. I don't need a person that's just like me, or thinks just like me. I don't need that. My friends are like, we're worlds apart on a lot of different things, temperament, personality, or whatever the case may be. And I said this when we talked about dating, but it's true with just humans. Just because you're different doesn't mean you can't connect. So I think that's important. Like, can there be a legitimate connection? Strip away everything. Strip away what we do, how much money we make, networking. Strip away all of that. If it was just you in elementary school, would you connect with this person?
That's so good.
I think that, that's always what I think about when I'm thinking of making friends, even now, because I think back to when I was in elementary school. I didn't have nothing, like, I wasn't thinking about none of that. The people I clicked with, I clicked with, and that's,
Yeah, I think for me, like, if I think about my 2 closest friends, like, and as you brought up the question, I was just thinking, like, I wonder what is the one thing with them that caused me to develop such a deep friendship with them. One of them is the loyalty, in the sense that I have hurt this person in ways that I haven't hurt really anybody else before. When I was, before I knew Christ, like, before,
they okay?
Like, they're okay now. Thank God. But they knew me before I knew Christ. So they have seen that part of me. But the fact that I have made multiple mistakes in our friendship and they have brought it up, there's been apologies and we've been able to move past that.
Dang, what you do?
Like,
no, I'm joking.
years,
No, I'm joking.
but like my imperfections did not ruin our friendship.
That's good.
And the other way around.
Right.
Like their imperfections did not ruin our friendship because we've recognized, yeah, we're gonna mess up, but this is a lifelong friendship.
Mm-hmm.
Like we have decided to commit to each other
That's
as
good.
friends, for a long time. And that has meant so much to me because I think back and I remember like, dang, like that was such a big thing. And they stuck around, like they still chose to forgive me and all that. The other one is, I guess the way I could describe it is like authentic celebration without jealousy,
That's so
without
good.
comparison.
That's
This
great.
is huge, I know, especially in girl friendships.
That's great.
Because I see it and I hear it a lot, that there's just some kind of indescribable, like false, like celebration sometimes in friendships. Where you can just sense that something's not fully, you don't really mean that. Like when you say certain things.
How do you feel like they say it, but they got a little underground?
I don't know how to describe that, but I've felt that too. Like, and
really,
but part of that for me is my, and I've said this before, but my least
with other guys or
love languages for guys is my least love language as far as receiving love is words of affirmation. Like I just don't like it.
Yeah.
So when people tell me like, "Oh, Danny, like that was great what you did," whatever. Not that they're not genuine. A lot of times the way I receive it comes off as not genuine.
Yeah.
But there's a couple of people in my life who have become pretty close friends for me that when they tell me something, I'm just like, I feel the authentic celebration, the genuineness.
Yeah.
And it just feels different. And I don't know why, but like when someone else does it, I'm just like, I don't know. But I was like, man, when it comes from you, and I've told this guy this before, I was like, when it comes from you, I feel and I believe what you're telling me. And it's been powerful for me. So now he's a person that I reach out to for prayer for, hey, I'm in this season. If you could just pray with me, things like that. And so it's, that authentic celebration is huge.
Yeah. And I know that jealousy and, it's just like it's self-esteem, roller coasters that girls go through. And when we enter different seasons of life or someone is just going through it, with insecurity or pride, that gets projected a lot onto the friends. And then there has to be a whole, like, what is really the deep issue here under these undertones that are being spoken.
Right.
And then it has to get deep and
it can't be about you when we celebrate. Like the Bible says, a time and place for everything.
Yeah.
Like, if we out celebrate, I don't need to look across the table and see you pouting and moping.
So a huge green flag is like,
don't come.
I see you in this moment. Like, I'm here for you. Let's celebrate you.
Yeah, that's good. Ooh, that's another daggone podcast episode.
Yeah, love it. 61. That's good. One thing that you mentioned at the beginning of this is like why it's hard in our culture to develop deep friendships. It takes a lot of intentionality. And so a question I have for us, what practices should we put in place to develop deep friendships? Like you talk about loyalty, but it's like, how do you know that someone is a loyal friend, right? What practices should somebody put themselves out there as they're trying to cultivate and develop friendships that would then, I recognize this in this person.
I wish I was a better friend. I do. I think the friendships that I have, I pray they would say I'm a good friend. This could be bad, but I think like what a practical way is to like be willing to be the type of person that for good will risk the friendship because you love the person. You see what I'm saying?
That's good.
Like sometimes I think to save the friendship, we'll go along to get along. We'll become yes people, or we'll, all my friends have the license to call me out, call me close, call me up. Even if I'm going to get pissed off and not want to talk to them again. They don't care about that. I said pissed off on that podcast. Forgive me. I'm sorry.
I was just going to pretend like it.
We'll call you out for that.
I'm sorry. And it goes both ways. You feel what I'm saying? I had a good friend, and we were tight in college, but I found something out. I found something out about his girlfriend, and I'm like, I can't be a good friend knowing this and sitting on it. And I know you head over heels, but number one, I'm not bringing you nothing that's hearsay either. Like this is this, like and I. But we aren't friends anymore because I mean he picked a girl. Praise God, great. But I can't. You know what I mean? I love you enough to tell you the truth and to try to, So I think you have to be that type of person that loves the person more than you love the friendship, because if that is the case,
because you're showing your care for them and things like that.
Yeah, you won't go along to get along. You won't. You know what I mean? I think that's very important, because sometimes if we really want to be friends with people or certain types of people, or if this person's very influential and I really want to be your friend, we can kind of pull a punch or pull a loving encouragement or a loving, I don't want to say rebuke, but a loving rebuke because of our proximity to this person.
Right.
And then you aren't loving the person. You aren't a good friend. You're an enabler.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to practically develop friendships because it takes time. And especially I think in different seasons, different friendships will cultivate, obviously. Like sometimes I tell someone like, man, I wish we could just get remarried because there's so many deep friendships we have in our life now that we're not at our wedding.
I thought that literally the year after we got married.
Yeah.
I was like, can we just do it again?
A year?
Our whole life.
Get married again.
Yeah. So for our 10-year, we almost did it. We should have. But we will.
I want to do that. My wife
been
don't
cool.
want another party.
I like to celebrate.
Me too.
I like to party.
Just take me on a trip.
Yeah, and so because man,
invite our friend.
And sometimes I'm like, oh, they were there. Like we didn't even know them. I was like, really?
Not in that year. Yeah.
And so, but it takes a lot of intentionality. So now in our season, like it's hard to go out with people. So a lot of times we just have people over our house, and we love that our home is a space for that. And there's sometimes where Summer and I were like praying, like, man, we need deeper friendships, right? But then it's like, but we don't want to go anywhere.
Yeah, brother.
And so it's like, how do you develop deep friendships? Like, well, you have to sacrifice. I think you said this earlier. Sacrifice time and energy, and
it's inconvenient
to go out. Yeah, that's the word you use, inconvenient. But then it becomes like healthy, and there's like no strings attached to this, where we're able to just hang out, and it becomes a beautiful thing, And so yeah, it's like. Now in your 30s, like, yeah, you want to hang out next month because that's when I'm free, and that's just how it is.
One at a time.
But now there's different avenues that you can use, obviously, with texting, group chats, FaceTime. I love FaceTime people, and it's weird how like sometimes you just connect so well with somebody and like develop a friendship. Like I FaceTimed a buddy yesterday, one of my really close friends from New York, and I mean I haven't, outside of like random like snap streaks, I haven't talked to him in a year probably. Yesterday we FaceTime for like an hour, and it was just one of those things like, man, like, all right, we need to,
like you catch up. You don't
we need to do this
time.
more. And the reason he called me or FaceTime me was because he was riding a bike and he passed by our old house, and so he's like, bro, I haven't talked to you in a year, so let's talk. And so it was good. And so I think for me, when I think about somebody, when God puts somebody in my mind, I want to be intentional. Like, all right, like then take a next step right here. Like if God's putting something on, hey bro, I'm praying for you. Like
Oh, that's good.
Or hey, I saw this on your IG or
that's
something like
good.
that. Like I just want to encourage you with this. Like just if you're gonna cultivate something, then sometimes it takes action on our part to develop those kind of friendships that might blossom into something that's really dope for you.
I think one of the things that we could practice more as a culture, maybe as a just anybody, not just young adults, but I think we've lost the health of vulnerability, like how healthy that can be, because we've had vulnerability, but a lot of times it's abused, it's taken advantage of, it's shared with other people that should not have known about it. And so because of that, I think a lot of times we just lose vulnerability in general. So what you don't know, you don't know. So if you have a friend, and I've seen this happen too, where you can just tell they're closed off, and you're being vulnerable, you're trying to, develop a trust there, but you can tell that they haven't opened up. It's very surface level. They don't want to get deeper. I think that creates a lot of tension in the friendship because it's one-sided. Like I'm trusting you with this information. I would hope that you would trust me also. And then there's just not that level of trust to the friendship. And but I think it should be done in the right way. You know, it should be in a healthy spot, you know, with somebody that knows you, that will respect the things that you have to share. But vulnerability is so important in a friendship.
Right.
To
get
really
deep
love
without
each
it.
other and to really care for each other.
That's good. That's all I got. So man, just one of our big
go find good friends.
Go find some good friends. One of our big prayers for young adults is that you would make friends that develop. Well, I think. Sorry, this kind of went unsaid. Quality of friendship. If they're a follower of Jesus, it's going to be a deeper friendship. And so find people who love Jesus, who are going to help push you towards Jesus, right? So that in that friendship, they're not pushing you towards obviously sin,
right,
or disobedience, but they're pushing you towards Jesus. You can be friends with non-followers of Jesus, but I saw someone say this the other day. Like we always talk about how like Jesus never like sinned with sinners, but I like the word that this pastor used differently was influence. Like he was never influenced by the sin; he was the influencer in that moment.
That's true.
Which is just a random side word. But yeah, and so our hope is that you guys make friends. We're trying to cultivate that with young adults by starting up something called dinner parties, where just in people's homes, you're just going to hang out, have some food together, some fellowship, pray together. And so prayerfully, you can make some friendships in those settings. A lot of our young adults already kind of cultivate that. And it was just like, it's a beautiful thing to see. So I just want that kind of more like spread out throughout all of our young adults.
Yeah, that'd be good.
When they walk in, they feel like family. And then they develop like, you know, like Jesus had. He had his 12, he had his 3, where you just have deeper, intimate friends around you as well.
Don't underestimate the power of a one-on-one coffee date either. Like if you have the dinner at the table with like 6 people, 7 people, and you connect really well with one person, then don't let it end there. Then like reach out to them and be the one to take initiative.
That's good.
And
that's good.
Hey, like I really liked our conversation. Like let's talk deeper. Like just us.
Come on. And if any young adults listening play golf, pull up.
I mean, I'll go to golf with you, but you ain't gonna have no fun.
Whenever it stops raining.
I have fun no matter what, bro. Yeah.
Man,
if you're good, I'm not that good, but I like to play.
You better than me.
I am.
You be like, man, why are we over here? Remember?
You only a 6 shot.
All the way over.
Well, my favorite golf story of you that we can tell in the podcast is when you stole the putter from that golf course. So best time ever.
I didn't steal it. I just forgot to give it back.
What the hell say? Anyway, love you guys so much. Opening day, let's go Mets. Nice. Matt, good luck on your bracket.
Go Hens.
Hope you lose. You're cooked already. And we'll see what happens. So love you guys.
You're gonna be dancing.